All right, it's 4:20. So if you got one, spark up. So today we are going to talk about the mass shooting in Portland, just across the river from where I live, involving. So far, it's looking like. Well, it's hard to tell. We know Black Lives Matter and Antifa were meeting at a park for a protest. Um, there's some people saying that one of the neighbors who lived in the neighborhood came out. There was a confrontation, shots were fired. There's also Antifa claiming that it's the Gypsy Jokers, which is a biker gang in the area. Um, I don't know either way. Uh, all I know is, what's available, and that, you know, 5 were injured, 1 was killed, including the person who lived in the community and was involved in the shooting as well. Um, and that this not even summertime yet, and the political violence going into the election season has already begun. So first, we're gonna watch 3 of the different local news stories on the incident, and then we'll discuss more.
Around 8 Saturday night, this northeast Portland neighborhood turned into a crime scene.
I heard it sounded about to be 8 to 10 consecutive gunshots.
Chelsea Blando was in her apartment near Normandale Park and rushed out.
Along with pretty much everybody in my complex, it looked like the entire police force of Portland came out.
Very chaotic scene.
Portland police said 1 woman died and 5 others hit by gunfire went to the hospital. Flyers on social media showed a group of demonstrators planned to gather at the park to protest the police shooting of a black man in Minneapolis earlier this month. Police say armed protesters and an armed homeowner got into a fight and began shooting.
I wanted to thank.
All right. So since it has come up, let's talk about Amir Locke. I don't know all the details. I know he was not the target of the warrant that was being executed. And I know the video contradicts the initial police report, and the video doesn't look good for the police, especially where they ended up also lying about the events that took place. So, I'm not, I guess marching in Portland is more of a solidarity thing. I don't know, because it's not going to have an impact on, what's going on in Minneapolis. That's a whole nother city and a whole nother state, halfway across the country. As for the Dante Wright situation, tragic that he died. However, he didn't put himself in the greatest position. And then there's the fact that, one of the things he was wanted for is, robbing a woman at gunpoint, which is one of the most cowardly things a man can do. And apparently he has, in the lawsuit money that his family has gotten, they have actually been facing several lawsuits from other victims of his. So, like I said, it's tragic that he died. The officer should have knew what she had in her hand. But it's it's a messy situation. There's not much for winners and losers in that one. It's just a fuck situation. Let's keep going.
Our officers who are showing up every day.
At a Portland police news conference Sunday morning, Lieutenant Nathan Shepard began to share information.
They are murdering us!
But was interrupted by several demonstrators condemning police, use of force, and the media.
I ain't gonna stand here and let these cops lie!
Lieutenant Shepard cut the news conference short and resumed it later over Zoom.
We're at the very beginning stages of the investigation.
Although 2 people were reportedly taken into custody from the park Saturday night, on Sunday, police would not say if anyone was arrested.
We never release victim information. It would be irresponsible of me to comment on arrests that were made.
The deadly incident reached national outlets like the New York Times, but it is still not clear if the person or people who fired shots are in custody now, nor if there's ongoing threat to the community.
There are a lot of guns in our city. Can I definitively say there is no danger? No.
In daylight, neighbors reflected on the shooting's impact.
It's definitely...
See, that was, there's a lot of guns in the city. I mean, the person who is being accused of being the mass shooter, he like I said, I don't know what happened, don't know what led to the confrontation, but given that it was a confrontation about what was going on in his neighborhood, with people who were armed, because there were armed people on both sides, for him to have gotten shot, I think it would be safe to say, like, it's not like, it's not like it was someone who went into a mall and just randomly started shooting people and then got away. It's not that type of a threat. But anyways, we'll keep going.
different when it happens close to home.
It doesn't really surprise me because there are shootings everywhere around here.
PPB says so far in 2022, Portland has experienced 203 shooting incidents. 50 people have been hurt, and 14 of the city's 15 homicides have been from shootings.
Just as shocked and as saddened by what's going on. We know.
And that was as of, some new numbers after the weekend came out, and it's up to 22 homicides now. Mind you, in 2019, I believe there was 32. 2020, that jumped up to 50. And last year, that jumped up to 92. And if we're already up to 22, we're not even at the end of February yet. So, times that by 6, it's not looking like it's going to be a good year. Now, what you want to correlate that to is up to you, but like I said, 2019, 32, followed by a sharp incline, largely in the summer of 2020. I'm just going to put that out there.
It's going to get better, but it will take some time.
Oh my God.
For Portlanders like Chelsea Blando, change can't come soon enough.
So I've learned to kind of tell the difference between fireworks and gunshots.
Galen Etlin, KGW News.
Breaking news tonight, multiple people were shot at the same time a protest was supposed to take place at Normandale Park in East Portland. Welcome to Coin 6 News at 10 o'clock on Portland CW. I'm Wayne Haverly. Our Jennifer Dowling, she is live at the scene. She's gathering information. And Jennifer, I know this is a complicated scene that you're on there tonight. What are you seeing out there?
Well, it's a big scene. There are several blocks that are taped off near the park. We're standing near Northeast Multnomah Street and 57th. I'm going to step out of the way so you can see what's happening. Actually, 55th Street. So here we can see there's a big crime scene Police are investigating a shooting here, and we've heard from a neighbor that perhaps as many as 4 people were injured during the shooting. That's what she saw. She saw several ambulances driving away. We don't know the extent of the injuries. We have tried to talk to police out here, and they haven't given us any information yet. We've been told that they may be able to update us, but we're still waiting on that. We do know that there was a protest march at this location, and they were supposed to march at 9. I don't think that march ever happened. I talked to a person who is friends with some folks in that group, and it sounds like the shooting happened before that march took place. That march was advertised online as Justice for Amir Locke. That was the purpose of the march, and justice for Patrick Kimmons, who is a local case, and justice also for Dante Wright. These were some informational flyers that were online advertising this protest. I heard it wasn't a very large group, but they were gathering here at Normandale Park in order to march at around 9. So back to the Amir Locke case, a case from Minneapolis where authorities were searching an apartment where Amir Locke was killed by a SWAT team member with a no-knock search warrant. So that just happened recently, and people again gathering here to protest that situation, according to online flyers and then some witnesses who are out here tonight. We've seen a lot of concerned people trying to help collect property. They're trying to get a bike that belonged to one of the people that they said had been hit by a bullet. But police say this is a crime scene, so they're going to have to wait on that. So that's just what we've been observing, and it is a very complicated scene. We don't know exactly who was hit, and again, the extent of the injury. So we're going to keep trying to work to see if we can get some more information. But so far, we haven't been able to talk to police tonight. Reporting live in Portland, Jennifer Dowling, KOIN 6 News.
Yeah, and there will be a lot more information coming in the next couple of hours, and thank you for being on the scene, and we'll check back with you just as soon as we get some new information. Jennifer Dowling live there in East Portland.
A deadly night in Portland is drawing national headlines as gunfire leaves 1 person dead and 5 others hospitalized, according to Portland police. It happened at the intersection of Northeast 55th and Hassalo Saturday.
I do want to say something about this hitting national headlines. Apparently this was one of 6 different shootings in a 9-hour span. But only this one made national headlines. Because it's nice and divisive. You know, a little political violence to fuel the flame of everybody.
Night. Police say their preliminary investigation indicates it began as a confrontation between armed protesters and an armed homeowner. Moments later, shots rang out. Last night, police told us arrests had been made, but they're now backing away from that statement. Fox 12's Connor McCarthy takes a closer look at where the investigation stands tonight and shows us the tense scene this afternoon when protesters were allowed to take over a police news conference.
More than 12 hours after a mass shooting here at Normandale Park, there's still evidence of a chaotic night. You can see on the ground there's police tape right over here, as well as medical equipment from paramedics to help treat the wounded. But as you can see behind me, the park is calm today with families and dogs joining a Sunday afternoon. Now this compares to last night when there was chaos. What started off as a peaceful protest erupted in gunfire Saturday night.
Responding with police in a 3227 Bravo shooting at Northeast 55th and Hassalo.
A group gathered at Normandale Park around 7 p.m. to march against the killings of Amir Locke and Dante Wright at the hands of police. The plan was to start the march at 8, but at 8:01, that's when gunfire started. Portland police say a woman was shot and killed and 5 others were hurt. Investigators say the shooting stemmed from a confrontation between armed protesters and an armed neighbor. Portland police did not say whether or not that neighbor was taken into custody or if anyone was taken into custody, despite what they told reporters on scene last night.
Like I mentioned, it very complicated, very intricate, and as we learn more, things change. At this point, I cannot comment on, it would be irresponsible of me to comment on arrests that were made.
Before that virtual press availability, an in-person one was held outside of their central precinct in downtown Portland. 2 minutes in, angry protesters swarmed the area.
They were investigating and addressing...
Guess what? You guys want to talk about how a white supremacist kidnapped me?
Many were voicing their frustration at how police have been handling the response to the shooting. Some claimed to have been at the protest Saturday night, but when asked for interviews, they declined to go on camera. Police say protesters at the scene left without talking with detectives, but some did return to Normandale Park Sunday for a vigil in honor of the woman who was killed they say was a protester that night. Police still have not confirmed if the victims were protesters, but city leaders are condemning the shooting. Mayor Ted Wheeler and Portland Police Chief Chuck Lavelle say they're closely monitoring the situation. Multnomah County District Attorney Mike Schmidt said his heart goes out to all those impacted by gun violence over the last few days. According to police, there have been 14 homicides now this year by people with guns. Portland police say they are still investigating this mass shooting, and they're asking anyone in the public who is in the area on Saturday night to come forward with information that might help lead to more information being released in this investigation. In Northeast Portland, Connor McCarthy, Fox 12 Oregon.
Mayor Wheeler is reacting to the shooting tonight. In some recent tweets, he said the community is dealing with the sadness of another senseless act of gun violence. He went on to say, quote, "It is this collective sadness and frustration that fuels my commitment to do all that is in my power to reduce the gun violence that is traumatizing our beloved city." Wheeler also thanked the police chief and investigators for their hard work. He's asking the community to cooperate with the investigation.
All right. So, yeah. That is the situation we have. Like I said, as of now, all reports are that it was a neighbor, someone who lived in the neighborhood. And then, you have people who were part of the, protests claiming it was gypsy jokers. It's also possible that the neighbor was a gypsy joker. Who knows? They haven't released enough information. But, this is also more about the trajectory in which we are heading. It's not good. I mentioned this briefly the other day. But like I said, I live in Vancouver, Washington, right across the river from Portland. And I've been watching the Antifa and the Proud Boys battle it out since Trump got elected. The violence has continued, it's been regular, and it's had escalatory moments. That one lady was claiming about she had been kidnapped. I don't know anything about that to confirm or deny. But this is where we are. We have, the extreme people on either side, out doing battle in the streets. And, who knows? Maybe this was just a regular guy who has seen what's been going on and was like, nah, they're not going to bring that shit over here. It's also quite possible that was the case. And went out to confront him. But it's concerning, though, because as we continue to fight ourselves, and by that I mean working class people continue to fight other working class people, the elites who run shit, the wealthy, powerful elites, they're just going to the bank. And we're just gonna continue to lose. There's no winners in this. This event that happened last week, and there's no winners. Only the people up at the top. They win. Because now this is just gonna fuel, This is just going to fuel the fire underneath Antifa and all them because they feel they've been attacked. And then you're going to have their opponents. You can already see them online right now, where, they posting that they're excited that the Antifa person got killed, and it's back and forth. And when it goes online, it will spill out into the streets. This happens quite frequently. A lot of people get killed over some shit they said online. But yeah, this, and all this really is just more, it's setting up an even bigger power grab by those who are already controlling everything. Because as things continue to dwell in the chaos, they can exert more and more power to bring things back down. And yeah, once they have that power, they're not going to give it back. So, and then for me, this is also concerning because, like I said, that's right on 20-minute drive. I can be at that ball. So this is right on my doorstep almost. But yeah, there's been celebrities and reporters and politicians and all kinds of people talking about a peaceful divorce, because right now people are so tribalized and into their ideology that there's just, if their ideology isn't what's being implied, they're going to feel under attack. And there's no way we can just continue, to peacefully exist when two completely opposing ideologies are constantly at war for power. That's just, it's not going to end well. But yeah, so that's my take on this. It's troubling because it just shows that, it's just one more straw on the camel's back before the back breaks in the direction in which we are heading, which is not a good direction. Let me know what your thoughts are on this. And if you are seeing this and you were there, give some details as to what happened. Or if you know someone, whatever have you. And if you have any ideas as a solution how to put an end to this madness, that doesn't involve, government retaining more power and continuing to trample on people's rights. Because I don't know how we fix this. Like I said, there's been moments where, like in New York with the mandates, that have brought people from those opposing ideologies to come together. But those moments are also usually short-lived, because once they see that happening, they make sure something's going to happen that they're going to choose to publicize and paste that as their story to get those groups, back in opposition. But yeah, so so let me know what you think. Any solutions? Other than that, y'all have a nice day. Thanks for watching. Stay blazing.